Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer, is here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
What's
it's a good
new?
Monday.
Yeah, what's new and exciting? You have a bird outside.
Yeah, it's my friend. I'm Snow White now.
You have a bird. You have a bird outside your window.
Yeah,
that
manifesting my
is loud as
princessness.
hell. He's loud as hell out there.
So it's 420 this week, and we got some 420 merch we've
This
never done
week?
before.
It's
Well,
the beginning of April.
oh God.
Where are you? Are you okay?
You all right? You all right, buddy? It's the
No, I'm
medium
not all right.
appreciation.
It is April 3rd.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
medium appreciation
God
thing
damn
is
it.
freaking him out.
No. It's just a lot of things.
stuff. There's a lot of stuff
Wow.
going on.
Yeah. It's kind of piling up.
And you know what I noticed today? Nothing makes you feel more confident as a business owner than when, because the buck stops with me and Tom. We're the owners. We own this company. But nothing makes me feel more confident than when you call somebody that works with us, Eric, and Eric is calming you down.
Yeah.
Eric was calming you down. You're like, you got off the phone with him, and you're like, I just spoke to Eric. I feel comfortable now where this is going to be okay. But I'm going to ask you, is it going to be okay?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay.
I've always said it's fine,
All
right?
Perfectly
It's
fine.
always
All right.
been
But
fine.
until it isn't.
Yeah, exactly,
This is what
yeah.
you've always said about my hypochondria. It's like, I don't have a tumor until I do.
Yeah.
But when I do, it's coming for me.
This week
Yeah.
me and Sam are going to be at the Orlando Guardians game. They actually won over the
They
weekend
did. First win.
Congratulations.
against the best team
Yeah,
in the
against
XFL.
6-0, the Washington, what were they?
the DC
Could have
Defenders.
won
Oh,
some money on that time.
DC Defenders.
Orlando.
I think my husband's going to put some money on the next game.
Well, here's the key. So Orlando was plus 10 at home against DC, and they won outright. So that is, I imagine, going to swing the spread for this coming weekend coming up, where it's probably not going to be as big as it should be because everybody's like, Orlando beat the best team, DC Defenders, or they're not that bad.
It just shows the whole league's a joke.
Yeah.
Right?
No. Well, it shows that there is actual competition because on paper, DC should have blown Orlando out. Based on everybody was like, Orlando's by far the worst team. DC's the best in contention to win the title.
Laughably bad.
But the fact that
Win the
Orlando
title.
won. DC is favored to win. I'm gambling on all this stuff.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, what do they play? Like 5 games, 6 games?
10 games
Win
total.
the title. What do you get?
Well, you get the XFL championship
You
trophy.
get a free Publix Nashville hot chicken
I was
sandwich.
gonna say you get a Nashville hot chicken sandwich from Publix. That's just too spicy. I had it this morning. It blew my. It's too
You're
spicy.
salivating and crying.
It's too spicy.
If you want to sit with me and Sam over this weekend's
Can I
game,
sit on you?
you can buy your tickets.
Can I sit on your lap?
TomDan.com.
Can I straddle you but facing you during the game and hold your tummy?
It's just gonna be me and the boys this weekend.
Hey!
So-
The boys are back in town.
They're very nervous about it because
Who, the moms? The moms are nervous? Or
no,
the boys are nervous?
No, my sons.
Why are they nervous?
Because I don't take them many places by myself.
Yeah, me neither. I don't take
Oh,
Maisie anywhere by
no.
myself.
Don't
I can't-
expect me to be a stepmom over here.
Oh yeah, you're definitely
No.
have to step in and show them some Titusville justice.
And
I'll
Slap their
feed them all the
hands.
snacks, though.
Yeah,
It's
you have
fine.
to pop their hands and.
it's just inevitably I'm not going to be as prepared as Crystal is, so we're going to forget some stuff.
What are you gonna wear, Sam? Because
I don't know.
his boys seem to be obsessed with cleavage. I'm just saying.
Oh, my God. What kind of heathens are you raising?
Just if
So-
you wear a bikini top, they're gonna have some.
Why would say wear a bikini top?
Make these boys take them to their first football game. Let them see some cheerleaders. Let them see some boobs.
So we have a guest in studio, and this guest on paper.
It's the most confusing guess I've ever seen. Yeah.
Because on the schedule, we have a whiteboard in our office. And
Why's it gotta be white?
I never look at it.
And then Sam, it's like a giant calendar of this month and the whole year.
Yeah.
So we've gotten to the point where we're planning out our entire year, right?
It gives me anxiety to see that. I'd rather just walk in and not see anything. Like I walk in, I'm like, oh
Well,
my
that's how
God,
we used
it's
to do
all-
it.
I'm like, it's all planned out.
I don't know how you guys used to do it.
It was.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it
I like
happened.
walk every day.
I
It's a
can't believe-
surprise. Every day was a surprise. I'd walk in and I'd be like, "What day is it?" He'd be like, "I don't know," and I'd be like, "Hold
Sam-
on." I call Andrea. I'm like, "What day is it?" She's like, "It's a Wednesday." I'm like, "Oh, Great. Wednesday. Weird Job Wednesday. Let's do it.
When it was just me and Daniel doing this by ourselves.
Well, at one point you had Lee.
No.
No,
I'm
he
talking
doesn't
about.
count.
I'm talking about early, like
Yeah.
before you were even helping us
Yeah.
at all.
09.
And Daniel had no idea who was coming in that day. Like,
Yeah, people would walk in, and then
I
Tom
wouldn't
would
even
be,
remember.
Tom would be like, "Who is that?" I'd be like, I don't know.
I would schedule guests, forget who it was, and then they just come to Daniel's house or
Yeah, to my house.
and then they would sit down, and then me and Daniel would
And
look
then
at
he'd
each other. I have
text me.
no
he'd be
idea.
like, he'd be like, "Who is that?
And
Who's
then-
sitting next to me?" I'd be like, "I don't know who that is." And then you'd be like, "I think I set that up. I think that's a friend of mine. He does. He's gonna be a weird job." Okay, all right.
We would start the interview and figure out
who
who it
they're-
was
yeah.
during the interview. Like, just be like, "Hey, what's going on, dude? We haven't seen you in a
so
while."
what do you do?
Oh man.
I'm not joking.
Yeah, and
Anyway.
then they go there and be like, "You don't remember me, do you?" We'd be like, "Oh, you know, we absolutely do. We never lie to you."
So
We do a lot of that.
our guest today on the whiteboard, this is what it said. Because Sam schedules it out all perfectly.
It's super proper.
I
She's
need some
got
markers.
She even has tiny markers that
Yeah.
fit the
It's
squares.
different color.
Yeah, in different colors, so it's color coded. But you need tiny little narrow tiny point markers to write these tiny little things in there. And what does it say on the board?
and also every once in a while I'll add stuff.
Shaky
Which you would
alcoholic.
never read.
Shaky alcoholic writing.
Jesus.
It's like, oh my
It's
god,
so bad. I'll put it underneath,
Yeah.
and then I'll
It's
look at it and be like,
terrible.
"What did I even write?"
It's terrible.
Our guest today was Frank Alligator Rob.
Yeah.
And I was
Frank
like,
Alligator Rob.
and I'm like, "Is it Frank?"
So I said
Is
to
it
you, I said, well, then
Alligator
it should
Frank?
be Alligator Frank.
But like Sam's like, "No, it's Frank Alligator Rob."
But he goes by Alligator Rob. And I'm like, so he's Alligator Frank.
yeah. No, it's like Alligator Rob.
Or is he Frank Alligator Rob?
Yeah. That one.
So he's Frank Rob.
Right. That's his real name. Yeah.
You got two for it's
Yeah.
a Ricky Bobby.
Yeah,
He
it's a
goes
Ricky
by
Bobby.
Alligator Rob on Instagram.
Alligator Rob.
Yeah.
Not Alligator Frank.
Yeah. You got two first names. Anyway, Alligator Rob's here. How you doing, Alligator Rob?
Doing great. To make it even more confusing, me and my dad and my brother are all Frank.
Oh, really?
Oh, the
All
triple
of you?
Franks.
That's true.
Your
Yeah.
dad
So you and
named
your brother are double Franks?
Yeah, he has a different middle name, but he's Frank Rob as well, yeah.
So your dad was
Is
like,
he Frank Crocodile Rob?
I like that. That's
for
a
laughing at that. I
That's your
appreciate
dad
that.
having an ego.
that's a real man George Foreman move where you name all
Yeah.
your sons
yeah,
George.
nobody's better than me.
Yeah.
So I'll
Man,
name
I
them
wish I
after-
would have done that too, Thomas. Like, how awesome would that
Easier.
be? Like, I'm like, he's Thomas Chisholm Van the fourth. I don't think he could be the fourth. Could he just be the third again? Could you name him the same thing?
Double third.
Third again.
Anyway, so Alligator Rob. First, how'd you become Alligator Rob? Tell us your backstory.
Well, I've been working with crocodilians now for 28 years. The Alligator Rob thing happened with a gator in Chicago 2019, I guess the middle of 2019.
Yeah, I remember you called in with
I remember,
us.
yeah.
And this is
I'm
how
reminding
we
him.
kind of got you on our radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot's happened since then. That story kind of saved my life.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that for people that don't know. Tell us about that gator and then how the whole thing kind of exploded.
Yeah, it was a story. It still is. It's what's crazy. There was a gator in Chicago in the southwest side. The mayor and some people up there reached out to me, asked me to go up there and catch this gator for them. They had somebody chasing it around for a couple weeks, couldn't work it out. So I go up there to this south side area, and they pull me up to this park, and there's a mariachi band playing. There's food trucks. There's people selling T-shirts and buttons. A couple dozen news crews, helicopters buzzing around. I mean, it was legit chaos. Thousands of people all over the place. I told them, I'm like, listen, guys, this ain't gonna work. Like, you gotta do something different here. Like, I gotta get these people out of here if we're gonna work this out.
Everybody
Gator was
there
already scared.
just to see
Even the mariachi
gator.
band?
Yeah, man.
I
I gotta
feel like
walk-
you can
yeah.
let them stay. Just like, hey, just bring it down.
Yeah,
Like,
can you turn it down to one
yeah.
instead of 10, guys?
I like
Silencio.
There's one gator, and then they put a huge party erupts around a mariachi band.
well, they're not like gators there, not like gators here. I would
Right, it was
imagine.
something
Yeah.
positive in a city that doesn't get a whole lot of positive, and really something really cool with a crocodilian that doesn't. Alligators don't get ever good stories, You don't hear good alligator stories.
Now, Rob, I remember when this was all going on and we talked to you on the phone about this whole thing. And did we ever mention how the hell it got there?
Well, so apparently alligators in big cities are common in drug houses. That's the best thing we can call it. It was somebody's pet for sure, but up there they do a lot of drug raids in drug houses and find them in people's basements.
That's what Hagrid did. He had the 3-headed dog.
Drug dealers like exotic animals.
Yeah,
they do.
you're right.
No, but I
There
mean, it
is
also
something to
would
that.
it would be
Yeah.
a deterrent, right? Like you put the gator
Sure,
in
yeah.
the room with all your weed, and
Yeah, if you're not used to that kind of animal, of course they're gonna go, "Whoa, man, don't
Cocaine
go near
gator."
that. That's
Yeah,
crazy."
yeah. Most people aren't gonna. I mean,
And so someone had this gator as a pet and just released it in Chicago, and then it got into the sewer system, or
It was just in a very large southwest side park. So it was just huge. This huge park. I mean, it took like an hour and a half to walk around the whole place.
what
It was
kind
humongous.
of nutritional value do turds have to make these animals thrive, right?
they're eating rats.
I mean, they're,
I think,
they're all
right,
down
right.
in the sewers eating, just chomping turds, and they're strong animals.
The Chicago winter would kill it out in the wild, right? So it must
Unless
have,
he could find a pipe under a road or something, yeah, that would have been the end of his story without a doubt.
gotcha. So no one had any idea how long it has been out in the wild, quote unquote.
It actually first showed up when there's a place up in Chicago. There's a nonprofit called Block Club Chicago. They do media stuff, and there was somebody from their group shooting birthday pictures for a kid's birthday party, and it was in the background of one of the pictures. That's how it was first found. Here's this alligator swimming by in the background. This kid's birthday pictures.
Oh my
It's
God.
pretty hilarious.
Also, very Slender Man to have it in the background. You know, it's menacing to
Oh,
have
it's
that thing in the background.
Flipping riot.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Lyle,
fun.
Lyle crocodile back there.
It's funny how something that is so common to us, like
I don't even care about gator. I see them all the time.
If there was a gator in the water, I'm not even sure I'd look at it.
No.
At this point, like it's a pigeon
Yeah.
here. You know what I'm saying? Like it's everywhere. There's gators everywhere.
On
So
our
you-
canoe trip, like on the Peace River, on the way back, I saw so many gators that like Maisie would be like, "There's one," I'd be like, "I don't care."
yeah, who cares?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're
just want to get a
everywhere.
hole in my stink.
But to people that aren't familiar with that, it's a damn dinosaur to them. It
it'd be
blows
like-
their goddamn
Right.
mind.
And what do? You get a food truck and a mariachi band, and you try to maximize your
Yeah.
draw, right? Because you
joke.
got this thing that honestly, at that area in that city, you could make some money off of this thing, right?
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
Benny
it's-
the Bull was running around. They were giving out. That was the same time the movie Crawl came out. So they're out there. Paramount's out there handing out tickets to their movie. It was genius stuff, man.
God damn.
Yeah, that's
Whoever thought about
fantastic.
that quick was. I mean, they were on point.
Yeah, that
dude.
intern got a raise.
Oh,
you
yeah, no
know?
joke.
Like when they were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, there's this gator down there. It's target-rich environment. People are gonna love it. We can go down there and hand out some tickets."
So how did you catch the gator?
Ended up vocalizing to him. So we study vocalizations through my nonprofit.
Tom
here.
doesn't
So wait a
believe
minute,
in
you
that?
can call
Yeah,
gators.
Tom
huh?
doesn't believe in
No,
that.
I
You've
know,
seen
I-
the Indian Crow Man, like and Tom.
No, that
and
wasn't-
Tom used his mixture of Mr. Magoo
No.
and his hatred of Indian people.
I know you can call gator. My pop-up used to do it. He taught me
Okay.
how to do
Let
it.
me see it.
Oh, so you can do it? Let's hear you do
Yeah.
it.
Let's hear you do it.
Okay, well,
Give me the bellows.
Alligator Rob can verify if this is a correct gator call.
Here we
but
go.
my pop-up,
Melissa, get ready.
when he had a place in the Everglades off Loop Road.
And he taught you how to do this?
And actually, part owner of his.
Did he tell you how to do this? Did he tell you? Would he judge your calls? Would he be like, lower, deeper, boy?
No, this is not. This is a gator mom calling.
Oh, gator mom.
The gator babies.
For
here.
supper? All right.
Katrina, get in here.
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Hola.
Oh, wow.
Something
Then
released.
he said,
Something
hola.
got released.
No, then he said, hola. That's
Oh,
how
it's a
racist
Miami
it is. He
gator.
goes,
It's a Miami gator.
Hola.
don't say hola.
Your eyes during that made the whole thing work.
You racist mother effer.
I haven't done it.
I haven't done it in a while.
Chico.
Sabado
It's been too cold. I haven't done it in a while. But Gator Rob, how good was that?
It was interesting.
It was interesting. That's not good.
Your eyes during the whole thing
Guten
made it all work. Oh,
All right,
Lord.
but that is the Gator call, right?
How was it? Is that a gator mom calling its babies?
I've heard worse.
All right.
We'll take it.
I knew it.
We'll take it.
I would call it.
Mostly right.
I call it mediocre.
All right.
I like that. You get the hell out of our studio, Rob.
Now you could show everybody your gator call if you want, but,
Yeah.
but they already heard it
Yeah.
when I did.
Okay,
it.
do yours.
You want me to give you one?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh my God!
And then, of course, if you're dealing with American crocodiles, it's a little bit different. It's kind of more bird-like. Every species has a different sound. Some have pops and clicks. I mean, they're all a little bit different.
My pop-up says they're all the same.
It's got scales and a tail.
Yeah, they're no different. They're all the same. So going back to the Chicago gator and then how you got your fame, you mentioned that it saved your life. What does that mean?
Yeah, so caught the gator there. You know, a lot of amazing things happened. I mean, I've done events for Michael Jordan and his mom, done events for the Murray family, you name it, done a little bit of everything out there, threw our first pitch at a Cubs game, done all kinds of amazing things. I think I've been up there 30-something times since that. But, you know, a year after all that happened, it was actually right before I talked to you guys, I found out I had a heart issue that I didn't know about. And I do this work, and I do my nonprofit stuff because I love it, you know what I mean? It's like it's my calling. You know, it's really it's what I believe I was put here for, to kind of be a blessing to others, be a blessing to these animals, and yeah, I don't do this to get rich. I didn't have any health insurance. I had a chest surgery as a kid, so I couldn't find a doctor to do my heart surgery. The media up there in Chicago found the doctor who did my heart surgery for me, and
Wow.
they fundraised the money and paid the whole thing off.
Really?
So, yeah,
that
I
is
mean,
awesome. How'd you
legit.
even find out you had a heart problem?
I was in North Carolina catching gators, and I was feeling dizzy. I was getting just tired. I mean, walking from here to the door, it was kicking my butt. I didn't know what was going on.
That's like me.
When-
Keep talking. I'm going to manifest. I'll keep talking. I'm going to manifest that I have
You're
it.
fine.
I'm
When
going to
am I-
manifest a heart thing.
Went to my cardiologist, and yeah, he said, "Hey, Frank, well, it's time." And I said, "Time?
He
It's
said, "My
time?"
name is Rob."
I said,
Idiot. We've been through this.
I said, "It's time for what, Doc?" And he goes, "Well, that valve's going to need to be replaced or repaired. It's time to get after it." And I'm like, "Well, great. Sounds super
That's what I
exciting."
tell my wife. I'm like, it's time to get after it.
Yes, you'd kill my garage. So yeah, we started looking around trying to find a doctor, and eventually they found a fella at Shands, which is where I had my chest surgery as a kid too. So it's pretty neat. And
That's where I was born.
yeah,
Yeah, Shands is a great spot.
they popped my chest open and worked it all out, and it ended up repairing it instead of replacing it because the doctor's like, "Listen, with the stuff you do for a living, we don't want you on blood thinners. That's a bad idea. So let's get this done. We'll repair it, and we'll get you back out there." So it was about a 9-hour surgery, and they
Wow.
they removed some soft cartilage out of my chest too, and so they kind of did a chest thing at the same time they did the heart thing. There's an experience. We all have our
crazy.
things, man. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Left for some cool scars.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
you look damn great for somebody that's been through that.
Yeah, might have my 2-year checkup this afternoon actually. So, yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, man.
Very cool.
We all got our stories, man. You know.
So the people in Chicago raised the money. When did they tell you they were doing that?
They'd started a GoFundMe for me right after this all started happening. So, I think it was Northwestern wanted to do the surgery. I think they wanted the story to stay up there, but I'm like, man, listen, I want to do this close to home if it's possible. Like, I don't want to be up there away from my family and my real close people. I go through something like that. You need your people nearby. You know what I mean? And actually, Mount Sinai had offered to do it too, and I'm like, listen, I'm super humbled by the offer, but I want to stay in Florida if I can stay in Florida.
Yeah, and Shands is in Gainesville, correct?
It is,
and
yes,
it's,
sir.
and the irony of that being the Gators, I don't know. There's something,
Yeah, there was.
something kind of cool about
Yeah,
that too, and that they do a lot of good.
They sure do.
Shands did multiple things for my mother. I was born there when I was extremely premature back in '76. I mean, that's how long they've been.
Being a teaching hospital, it was always an experience. It wasn't just the doctor walking; it was the doctor and all the people learning with you. So, it was experience.
So Alligator
Catheters
Rob,
being pulled and things with like a whole room full of
Yeah,
students,
they
and you're
put
like,
you in an auditorium.
yeah,
right?
good times, good
Yeah,
times.
my mom. I remember my mom telling about. I don't know if I was born in an auditorium, but I think that some of her checkups were with like hundreds of students because she had such a rare heart disease,
yeah.
and they know that's
There's a couple
place-
dozen
yeah.
people in the room with you every single time something
Yeah.
happened. Like, hey, so we need to cardiovert you. We're gonna have a whole room full of people to watch this. And you're like, great. Well, that should be fun.
Yeah.
Let's do this, guys. Yeah.
So, Rob, I want to go back to the first pitch at a Cubs game. When did you get invited to that? And I want to talk about that experience because I imagine that it's nerve-wracking to throw a pitch out at a basketball or a baseball game because you don't want to be a fool and bounce it or you throw it all
It's far.
wild. You know,
A lot of people don't understand how far it is
It's
to
a
the
ways.
plate. Yeah, it's a go.
And you want to put a little bit of something behind it. You don't want to throw up a big arcing softball wobbler. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you want to throw it with a little bit of zip.
Sure.
So, but to do that and to not have it bounce off the catcher's glove or go wild, and then it's anticlimactic if the guy doesn't catch it. Anyway, so tell me about going out there and doing it.
Yeah, they asked me, it's 3 a.m. Got there, caught the Gator 3 a.m. the next morning. They said, what do you want to do while you're in Chicago? You're here a couple more days. I said, I don't know if the Cubs are even in town, but I've always wanted to go to Wrigley Field and see a Cubs game. They're like, yeah, okay, well, give us a second. They go away, come back like 15 minutes later, 3 a.m. Said, well, how do you feel about throwing out first pitch at a Cubs game? I said, sure, why not? Yeah, that sounds great. And yeah, full stadium. It was awesome. Believe it or not, probably one of the more relaxing experiences of my life. Just went out there and went with it, man. Pitched from the mound, of course. I wasn't gonna half-heartedly go into it.
Look at
Fished
you.
with flip-flops on.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll get a Rob.
Yeah.
Threw it with flip-flops. I wanted to go barefoot, but they're like, Frank, don't take your shoes off. Don't take your. I'm like, why not, man? Like, how cool would that be to be up there barefoot?
That's
Yeah.
part
You
of
know
the
what I mean?
character.
Yeah, I'm like,
part of your thing.
They're like, don't take them off. I said, well.
Oh, those,
All right, fair enough. But yeah, I threw a strike. I talked to some people that I know, and they're like, listen, don't throw full throttle. Pull it back a little bit, aim toward the catcher's head. You'll drop it right in. I'm like, sweet. So I did, dropped a strike right in there.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
You know,
I made a point to okay, I need to talk to some people because I don't want to screw this
Did they
up.
give you the ball afterwards?
They did.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
to keep it.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I mean, that's an experience. I recently, I don't know, it popped up on my algorithm. I saw George Bush talk about throwing the first pitch after 9/11, like at Yankee Stadium or
Yeah.
whatever. And like he said, he was like, he basically tells a story about talking to Derek Jeter like beforehand, and Derek Jeter was like, hey, don't throw it from the mound. Don't throw it in front of the mound, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he's like, don't whiff it, all these things.
Yeah,
like
there's a lot of things that can go wrong.
And then George Bush was like, he's like, I wasn't nervous before when Derek Jeter told me, like, he's like, they'll boo you if you.
Oh, yeah.
If you,
No matter who you are.
and then you go back and I forgot that he even did that, but you go back and he's like, George Bush threw a good ass pitch, and threw a strike
I
too.
mean, he's from Texas, right? Shouldn't he know how to do that?
I mean, he's an
He's
old
at
man.
like all the baseball games.
But I
this
feel
guy's
like if you're from Texas
He
or
probably played
Florida,
baseball.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You should at least know how to throw a baseball.
The last time he played baseball, what, he's 10 years old or something? You know what I'm saying? This guy's like,
yeah. Career politician.
50. It's like who you look at. It's like it's pretty difficult. Anyway,
Well, all the 69 Cubs were there from the 1969 team. So that all those old fellas that were telling me, like, don't screw this up. Like, don't screw this up. And right before I pitch, this photographer walks over and he goes, hey, look at this. And he shows me this video from the previous day where a guy went to throw a pitch and hit him right in the face. He was like 12 feet to the left of the catcher. I'm like, dude, why are you showing me this right now?
Exactly.
Like, why in the world are you showing me this?
It's like Tom showing me plane crashes right before we get on the plane. He loves to do that.
That's for bullying. They're bullying you, Rob.
Oh, Lord, that's
but
funny.
by the way, everybody who tells someone as advice, don't screw this up, it's counterproductive.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
pushing
that's
the limit of
pressure.
screwing it up.
You are actually increasing the odds that they screw it up by telling them that. Just guess what? They don't want to screw it up. They know that going in. That's all they're thinking about. You telling them don't screw it up. It's not like, oh really?
Yeah, you don't even
I never
need-
thought about that.
You don't need to say a thing.
yeah.
Not
Yeah.
even one more. Don't even look at him. Don't
Saying
even look
nothing
him in
is
the eye.
always better, yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk alligators.
You still working with them daily, like pretty much, or like
Research and stuff, yeah, mostly.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is a typical day of alligator Rob? What's it entail when you're working with alligators?
Well, with the research we're doing through ears, a typical day is biodiversity work. So we'll go out on different county properties over there in Brevard. We look at species traveling back and forth between habitat types. So It's like we use a lot of wildlife arrays. It's like a bunch of lottery tickets, I jokingly say. Because some days it's possums, some days it's skunks, some days it's rattlesnakes. You don't know who knows what the heck it's going to be. And then doing the research side, we're doing that over there in Brevard. We're doing that in North Carolina, and then we're doing that in Belize as well. So it's
wow.
It's always different.
So
Belize and North Carolina very similar.
Well, it's funny, the amount of alligators in North Carolina will blow your flipping mind.
Really?
Man. There's so many alligators up there, not just like out in Wilmington around the battleship and stuff. I mean, inland and north. There's days we've been up there and caught more gators than I'll see in a day down here.
Really?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
Why do you think that is?
They just have the pockets up there where they're at, and they've been able to find those little subtropical areas, the subclimates, and they're working it out.
We hear every once in a while about someone getting attacked, and usually it's a story. It's like over the years you've seen so many. It's always kind of the same story. It's the person was either walking their dog or on the edge.
Little old lady with a dog happened like a month ago?
Or feeding something. Yeah.
On the edge of the water around dusk and feeding time, and they, they're either walking a dog and the dog attracted the alligator, or, God, there's been horrible stories with kids and things, but it seems like that is the way that people get attacked, even though it's insanely rare. Based on the amount of alligators we have, there's an alligator in every single body of water in Florida. It's everywhere. It's like I don't know of a body of water that there isn't an alligator. That would be insane. That would be the insane rare thing.
If it's not there, it'll be there.
Yeah. Somehow,
sure.
And then, and so as long as you are cognizant of how historically people have gotten attacked, it seems like you could stay away from it. Then there's those other insane rare things where sometimes there's people swimming and they get attacked in the water, which that is insanely unlikely, right?
Well, we always called it tempting the devil. You know what I mean? If you're going to tempt bad things happen, and they're going to happen. What I'm noticing more and more, and it's been happening, it's getting more and more common. Complacency. Everybody just believes that they're bulletproof and nothing bad can happen to them. And everyone's
that's what I think.
Everyone's
just turning to look at Tom.
Everyone's awareness factor is like at an all-time low. So not only are you not taking in what's around you, but you're thinking, you know what? There's no way that chair is going to roll over here and smash my feet because it's over there. It's simple things.
How did you know I wanted to smash your feet?
Well, we were talking about it earlier, so I figured you're probably going there at some point.
All right. Yeah, interesting.
It's if you know that you live nearby water, don't be out there dawn or dusk. Don't be walking your pets around it. Don't be going down there and feeding the fish and the turtles, because next thing you know, you're feeding everything else as well. It's common sense things, and man, where the heck has common sense went? It's long gone. Unfortunately, it is gone.
Now the next segment we'll do a whole.
He calls himself Tommen Sense.
Common sense.
Yeah.
He lets his small children swim with the gators at Peace River every year.
Well, okay, let's talk about that because
I did that
Rob,
one too. I'm guilty as charged.
I've caught some gators in the past. I know you're not supposed to do it.
Remember you talking about it.
Yeah. But I know my way around a gator.
Rob doesn't like it when you talk about that. Those are his friends you're slapping around.
Yeah,
you're
molesting
sitting on their,
them.
you're sitting on
They're
their
tough
back
as hell.
and smoking your Parliament
Fine.
100s.
If you can catch a fish and release it, the gator will get you. I feel like it's equal at that point. Like if you get bit, that's on you. Yeah. The fish ain't gonna do nothing to you. Anyway, so when we go to Peace River every year, we do let our kids swim in the river. There are gators everywhere in that damn thing. Everywhere. Big, huge gators
Big
too.
boys. Big chubbies. Big fat chubbies.
And then, but
where they look like they have fat rolls. The gators are so big.
And then I'm not letting the kids swim at dusk or anything. It's the middle of the day. And then,
I give them 1 hour at dusk. Just be extra careful.
And then
just be looking around.
We're out there, I'm looking out for them. I'm like, there's no, whatever. And they're swimming and they're crazy.
If there's a gator, then you just splash some water at it.
And then some of my friends that are less outdoorsy, they're, of course, the moms, they're all freaking out. They're like, are you sure this is okay? And they're all looking at me because I'm Gator Tom to them, even though I have no idea what I'm doing? Or
that's the first. That's the first I've ever heard of Gator Tom. That's a blatant lie. No one has ever called him Gator Tom.
And then I reinsure them that I'm like, they're fine. There's no gators going to attack the kids.
Fine. Everything's perfectly fine here.
Now, I'm just making it up, obviously. I don't really know.
Out of your rear end.
But in the time I've been alive, I'm like, this is not how gators attack people. I've seen it before. You walk your dog.
Yeah, nobody here has a little dog, and nobody's throwing chicken around.
It's like I rarely, if ever, have ever heard just like kids are swimming in the middle of the day.
At Disney, and
that was a dusk baby near the water.
That was a dusk baby.
You know, like that
it was a grade A dusk baby.
A tiny thing walking at dusk near water. It's like.
That's like
that's how it happened.
My kid was actually in the water, but yeah.
So is Gator Tom right when he tells his friends nothing to worry about?
You can't call yourself that. That's stolen valor.
It really is. It's like,
I'm saying that's what they call it. I don't know. I can't. You can't. Determine what people call you.
Were we being negligent in?
If it's a high public use area, and there's gators around, chances are there's some bad gators there. I would not be having people swim there. There's better things to worry about. You know, always tell people to worry about taxes or terrorism or something important, but being complacent, thinking things can't happen, it can definitely happen.
Well, is there any safeguard? I mean, I get in there. I'm blacked out. So
I was sitting. I
don't know how much I could do.
I was sitting in a chair. They were swimming. Yeah. If something would have happened, I would have been able to scream, cry back to my wife.
Yeah, but there'd be nothing else to do. That's
for sure. The gators pulled them to their death.
But it seems like a somewhat irrational fear, swimming and thinking you're going to get attacked by a gator.
Yeah.
Because there's
when should you come in? So if you see a gator and it's swimming around and it's like middle of the day, should you just like not go in the water at all?
Well, if it's hanging around the area, you definitely shouldn't. But there's they can hold their breath all day long. They actually have control of their heart rate, so they can turn their heart rate down to 1 beat per minute whenever they want to. So if he wants to go out and lay down in the middle of the river and chill out there and decide, you know what, there's a Scooby snack over there I want to go get. I'm just gonna swim over there underwater and pick it up, and nobody even know I was here. They can do that.
That's terrifying.
Well, now
they don't have murder on their mind, but every now and then you do come across just like people, you come across a rare rogue bad dude.
Yeah. Murder was the case. Snoop Dogg.
Well, but my thing is, like, why worry about the rare, statistically unlikely thing? You're gonna go my whole life being scared of every statistically unlikely.
Everybody thinking that there's a sleeping gator in the middle of the river.
Yeah, there's not that.
It's a fine line. It's legit a fine line. Yeah, you don't want it to stop you from doing what you do, but at the same time, you kind of want to be cautious.
Be careful. Yeah.
It's again, we're talking about complacency.
Well, it's either you swim in it or not. Yeah. Which one is it? Gator Rob? Do I live my life?
Our guest.
I live my life and go on and swim in the Florida waters?
Yeah,
it's a calculated risk.
Now
for sure.
I'm confused because my wife said there she just heard that, and now I'm probably never gonna go camping again.
If it's a place where there's high fishing and stuff happening, that'd be the place where you would find a bad alligator, and you wouldn't want to be doing stuff like that. If it's a typical area where there's not people fishing, there's not a lot of public use maybe at the water spot, you're probably better off.
My Miami friends were fishing all around the
all over there.
Yeah. They fish in all the canals down there. They're fish crazy.
Fishing, I like fishing myself, but when you have fishermen, they're always leaving trash behind. Not always, but a lot of fishermen leave bait behind, leave things behind that the alligators clean up. And when you release a fish, that fish is weaker than whenever you caught him. So it's something easy for the gators to catch. And the biggest downfall of a crocodilian, alligators included, is their intelligence, which is weird to say that. That's his biggest weakness is his intelligence. But if they can find an easy way to get something done without having to go out there and kick their butt all day, go out there and have to really work to find food, and they can just get something easy, they're going to do it every single time.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, right? No joke.
We're crocodilians that way, right? Like, I just want to go, easiest... What's the easiest way to do this?
They can solve problems, man. People knew how smart they were.
I wonder if they're smarter than octopi.
No. Tiny brains. They don't know nothing.
What is there anything you
They
can
have
do?
They have a very similar cerebral cortex to a dolphin.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Smart as a
you
dolphin.
Were Gator Tom.
You should have known
That
this,
just
Gator
blew
Tom.
your wig off.
I like how I just say.
What?
Think about
I
it.
didn't know that. I'm Gator Tom. Now Gator Tom knows that.
We have these
my
big
God.
brains, right? But we're using 10% of them. They have a smaller brain, but they're using every bit of it. So, I mean, think about that. Something to consider.
I use every bit of my brain. It's so hard. Like right now, I'm trying so hard and nothing's happening.
What's the typical brain weight? What, 8 or 9 pounds?
I think mine's around 6. It's smaller. It's just
Mine's
smaller.
smaller than that,
Everything on me smaller.
So here's another some misinformation that I've always lived by that I'll continue to live by, even if you tell me it's not right.
At least he's
That's
honest.
honest. That is very honest.
Because it's
that's
very
legit.
hard for me to change what I believe now, almost impossible. So even whatever
Stuck in his ways.
Yeah.
And
like-
almost impossible means impossible, just so you know. He's not giving you an almost. He just says that.
So I've always thought too, like my size as an adult male, I'm like, well, no gator's going to attack me. I'm too big. Like
Yeah.
I
You're
think
like,
this is
you're
not
like a
the-
rock over here.
Well, no, I'm not.
like
no, I'm,
Dwayne Johnson. He's
No.
a mammoth of a man.
I'm just saying, like, this is not the Amazon where there's some 18-foot crocodile that is
Yeah.
used to eating zebras or
He does
whatever.
like a death roll and
Or
then sticks you
someplace
under
in
an
Africa.
old mangrove tree.
You know, well, in Florida, you've seen some record-sized gators every once in a while, but those are the anomaly. Most gators, they're get 10 foot.
What's
12
the biggest
foot.
gator you've ever caught?
Yeah.
Crocodile, probably, I don't know, 15 feet. Alligator, in Brevard, if we see something that's over 12, it's something pretty special.
Yeah.
12
So
feet. Good God.
For the most part, I mean, we saw some big boys
we
in
did.
on Peace River. Like, I'm like,
I
whoa!
was
So
swimming
let your
with him.
kids go in
Yeah, we
there.
were swimming with him.
For every inch of their head, that's how many feet they are. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
That's
Gator
not
Town.
actually
Yeah.
always true.
Yeah.
That's not actually always
Get
true.
'em.
I love that. Get him,
No,
get her,
so
Rob.
that changes
Huh?
as they get older. As
Yeah.
they get older, their noses actually get longer. The way to tell for
Oh, like
sure
me.
that if you can find a back foot, so their front hands have 5 fingers, their back hands have 4. From the distance of their longest heel bone to their longest toe, that distance is the same every single time. So if you can get that distance and compare it, you'll know how long they are.
All right.
Yeah.
You'll
Didn't know
be-
that, Gator Tom?
Footprint.
You'll
Footprints.
believe your science. I'll believe.
Yeah. Not my president.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
And then, do you know about the eggs? Like the
What, the
temperature.
price of eggs? I know. I've seen it. It's crazy.
The temperature of an alligator's eggs determine what sex it's gonna be. I don't know if you know that.
I did
That-
not.
that's the
Alligator
case
tongue.
unless there's environmental contaminants. Then the contaminants decide the sex of the animal.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
some
take that, Gator
freaky
Tom.
stuff. No, but you're 100% right.
Well, don't say 100%.
Unless there's contaminants involved, which there's contaminants everywhere now. So kind
So you're not 100%.
No, never 100%.
in a perfect environment, you're spot on.
Ah,
bro.
perfect environment.
Yeah, you're spot on.
So
They got those mushy eggs, right?
back
I never trust an animal that has mushy eggs.
Back-
I like a nice, hard, rigid egg.
back to the alligator attacking me. Someone my size.
oh man.
I feel that a typical Florida gator is not going to go after something my size just because it's.
Well, I mean, if you're a Buffalo Wild Wings, he will. If he's just a guy in cheat shorts, he'll fight you in the parking lot.
It
He'll go out to the parking lot and get his gun.
because they're just not used to. I mean, not its natural prey, so I feel like it'd be scared of me.
Most every bite I've ever worked or incident, we don't really call them attacks because they're usually people doing stupid stuff,
Yeah.
have always involved just weird situations. It's usually either people in the water feeding the animals, people out of the water feeding the animals, somebody stepping on one, or we worked a weird one where there was this giant guy. I mean, this dude was like 6'8", probably 320, humongous guy. He was in the water jetting in a seawall, and this gator grabbed his leg and like ripped his calf off.
Oh,
But-
God! They talk like that, big people. When they're extra big, they talk real slow.
Again, the thing never surfaced. It never bubbled or nothing. They just like, well, man, I got something hurt my leg. He gets out of the water. They call it in. We go out there. Didn't see anything. The next day, I ended up coming across this gator that was. People would walk out to the seawall and they would drop their food off the edges. They'd scrape their pots and pans off into the water. This big blind gator would go through there and pick up the stuff off the seawall. So he went through there and bumped this guy thinking it was food and grabbed him. And they're very smart. Alligators are smart enough to know when they grab something that's not supposed to be there. Like, whoa, okay, this is not trash or bait or fish. This is something else. And he let loose of it. But, I mean, some bad things happen sometimes.
And so it's just a crazy situation where a blind alligator was used to feeding in that area and then bumped into this guy's
Wrong
area.
place,
You just
wrong
never
time.
know. You just never know what's going on.
So what? We've all now we see a lot more like gator interaction just because of the amount of cell phones everybody has. Like we see that real man that was walking his dog that went and remember it grabbed his dog basically from the gator to say, that old man that picked up the gator.
Yeah.
And
It was ironic how he had a camera literally pointed on the spot.
Right.
It's never quite made sense of that whole thing, but yeah.
You're right. I had questioned that. It's
why
like,
are you
who's filming
videoing
it? Well, although you have to be a psycho if you're trying to.
All right, I'm gonna hang my
use
dog.
your dog as a gator bait.
We got him.
As an effort to be an internet sensation.
You're a psycho.
Which he had pretty much pulled off. Yeah, little alligator, little dog.
But people do that.
very
People
strange.
abuse their children to try and get
Right.
seriously, they'll beat their children and abuse them, and then later, remember that family that got brought up on charges on YouTube
Yeah.
because they just that fame
I
is
know.
a powerful thing for some folks, man. Good lord.
So we saw that one. I guess it was probably like a wildlife person that was doing a demonstration in some sort of school or something where the gator got her arm and then started rolling.
She just went with it, right?
Yeah, and then I in an effort.
That's a hard video to watch.
Not to let the gator roll your arm off, you have to roll with it until it's.
Yes.
it's
Steve Winwood.
I also told my pop-up said
a
run
good-ass song.
zigzag if a gator's ever chasing you, which
Which is funny because I don't think I mean wouldn't your pop-up think running zigzag is gay? I can't even draw zigzag.
Well, he's like, I'm not doing that, but the kids and the women can. That's what he said. But anyway,
I run in a straight line,
but
slowly.
Even as a kid, I remember thinking, well, all the gators I've ever seen, they even on like National Geographic, they just pounce out of the water and try to grab whatever and then like they never start chasing it up the lane.
Yeah.
I'm like, that never happens. So
But I bet they could if they wanted to.
yeah, but it doesn't happen. Like they don't start
No,
chasing
you're exactly right.
You
Yeah.
know,
if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen with about 15 feet of the water. No gator's gonna chase you down.
Yeah. I've seen Savannah do it
Yeah.
online. The gator just pops
she's
up
worked
and
with thousands of gators.
and then
Yeah.
they
knows
just
what she's doing.
They just tap the nose and then it keeps his mouth open.
Well, she knows all those gators that are there at the place too, which makes a big difference. She
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
all their personalities.
She knows all their behavior, like
'Cause
what their patterns
She's
are.
been there working with them forever, so she gets it. Yeah.
And they're
That's not wild alligators that you don't quite know what's going on. She knows all those. Those are her pets.
But my
you know what I mean? She knows
favorite
them.
video is that old man who tries to put his members only jacket on top of the gator. That's one of the best ones.
That's how people get bit. Is
You know
messing
that
with
story,
them.
right?
No,
So that guy that was up in I believe it was South Carolina. He worked at a local zoo and believed that it was no different than working with one of the zoo alligators. So he went and tossed his thing on there. You see, that was a perfect example of, man, friends you can trust and friends you can't trust. Because you see all of his buddies are there with him. They're going to help him. He throws the jacket on there and he goes to jump on it, and everybody bails on him, man. Like, all of his buddies are like, nope, peace out. We're done.
I never
you're on
noticed
your
that all
own.
of his friends run
Oh,
away.
they
I'll have
do.
to
They
go back
all
and
run
watch
away.
it.
I'm like, man, you should can every one of those friends.
Well-
Find new friends right then and there. But
Once it starts whipping its head around and you realize like
I've lost my jacket.
it's also this thing is 10 times stronger and 1,000 times faster than my old ass. That like, and then when it knocked him over and like kind of bit his arm, and just like I can't even get out of my own way. Like,
that gator
I'm
was
too
very
old.
nice to him.
Yeah.
That gator could have ruined that dude forever. He kind of went, take that, homie. We're done. Peace. Like, let me do my thing. He just kind of moved on his way. If that gator wanted to wreck that guy, he could have wrecked him.
Did you know that you could hold an alligator's mouth shut with just 2 fingers?
Yeah.
It has no muscles to open its mouth.
I did learn
but
that. Yeah.
when it closes, it's got the like
So
the
Frank look down
PSI
and shake his head.
of a goddamn hyena.
Well,
That's
let's
I heard
clear
that
up that
Gator
misinformation
Tom.
before we go to break.
Gator
They have
Tom
quite a-
taught me that. The last time Gator Tom was here, he taught me that. Did you know
Yeah,
that?
yeah. And I said, don't worry about your kids. I'll get in there and handle the problem.
Yeah.
They actually do. The big guys have quite a bit of power to open their mouth back up. I've watched them pop tape.
Oh, so what Gator Tom said?
No, little guys,
Can
maybe
you go
one
back
thing.
and
Yeah.
delete
Yeah, yeah.
the last thing Gator Tom said?
A lot of
Just
people
cut-
are going to get hurt if they
just
listen to
cut that
Tom
out. Just cut
Van.
that. The best thing to do is to check all of Gator Tom's statements before we.
Yeah.
Okay, so the straight line, the eggs, the temperature, man, you're all spot on. But
I know eggs.
Yeah, and then Gator Dan. Don't forget Gator Dan, because I would have played too. I told you that they're the mushy eggs.
Well, where can people get the Gator Raw bobblehead? Because I appreciate
that's
you brought us a
fantastic.
Gator
Can
Raw
we
bobblehead.
hang that in the studio?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
even the Gator bobbles. It's a
It
double
is,
bobble.
It is a double bobble, indeed. Yes. You can get those on my website over at ears.org. It's EEARSS.
Do you still have your book?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I got a couple of books too. I think I buzzed you all a couple of those last time.
Yeah.
Yep, so yeah.
Maisie, the coloring book, Maisie loved it.
Yeah. Okay.
Crushed it. Yeah, that's well done, man.
Yeah, if you guys need more of those, you let me know. Get you whatever you need whenever you need
Well,
it.
go and support him, guys. Go.
We're doing actually a book fest this weekend in Cocoa Village.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So we're doing some book stuff there, and we had an Eco Fest event last year at Sandpoint Park in Titusville, which we'll be doing again this year, November the 11th. Hope you guys will come say howdy to us. We usually have some bands and stuff there, and we had like 50 vendors from all over the country, other nonprofits and stuff. Just trying to use the voice that I've been given through all this to bless other people along the way too.
Would it be a conflict of interest if Gator Tom pulled up in his?
Of course not. Yeah, come Gator Tom it all day, Tom.
I got a promotional van.
It's a full Gator. He drives up. It looks like the Boston Lobster Feast.
Flipping hilarious.
Except it's a green. It's your truck. It's got a styrofoam gator head that goes on there. What do you wear? Do you wear like a Crocodile Dundee style hat?
Yeah. I got this whole
A knife. You got like a necklace, a gator teeth.
I got gator feet. Gator feet. No. I got some gators in the back. I got to duct tape their mouths.
Yeah. You can hold these and take a picture.
yeah. Do the picture, whatever you want.
Hilarious.
Alligator Rob, you can find them at Alligator Rob on Instagram,
go
Twitter.
support him.
Yeah. And maybe one day we'll do a go-to show. We go catch some gators. I'll
That'd be
show you
great.
what I got.
That'd be great.
Show how Gator Tom works.
Show you what I got.
That sounds just terrible.
Some weird stuff happens on
Yeah,
on
apparently.
alligator
This
stuff.
guy's talking about OnlyFans. He's like, I'll show you what Gator Tom's
We'll take my
with.
boat out to St. John's and we'll be fine. Yeah,
We
we're
know
just-
you'll never take
We're
your
gonna go in
boat
the
out.
back where the goddamn boat cops. If they see you doing that, they get mad.
Well, we're with Gator Rob.
All right, we'll be right back.
Oh my God, that's funny. All right, thanks, buddy.
Flipping hilarious.
Really appreciate that, man.
That was a riot, guys.
Where's that go?
Monday 1 and 2.
Monday 1 and 2.
I appreciate you all. Thank you guys.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you too, man.
Dude, you're welcome anytime. We'll talk gators and we'll.
Appreciate it, guys.
And act stupid.
Yeah. Do you live in Titusville?
No, my friend does though. I
Oh,
went out
okay.
to visit her yesterday.
All right. If you guys ever make your way over to Titusville, want to come jump on a podcast, by all means,
Cool.
come on over.
man.
Yep.
Much appreciated.
Yep. Appreciate you all, bud.
Thanks again for being here, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Yeah,
Sir, thank you.
maybe we can set up some.
See, I like your
Thank you
tie.
so much.
Yeah, me too. I was looking at it. I was like, that is an awesome tie.
Yeah, I have a nice collection of alligator ties. I try to keep it going.
I like that, man.
I'll reach out maybe.
People want a Gator Tom T-shirt now.
Gator Tom.
Actually have some interactions. I don't know if you have the ability to do something like that with someone.
We'll give you all the room you want.
Okay.
If you guys want to come set something up or do whatever you want to, sure.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's a giant park. We had
that.
12 food trucks last year. Probably a dozen bands, which we're looking for a headline act. If you guys might have any ideas.
Okay.
Scott guys were saying you guys might to pick your brain about that. You might have some ideas.
Yeah, I mean, we know a lot of people. I'll give you my card, my cell phone on it. I got email me too.
Yeah, what kind of bands are you into?
Last year we had a little bit of everything. We even had like a Primus cover band. It was a little bit crazy. We had
Nice.
a little bit of everything.
Cool.
Yeah, we have some bands. and
John
stuff,
Prestage
just
would be good,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Ben, if you can get Ben.
What the budget is and
I
what
think
kind of
Ben's been
music and stuff like we
recording a lot.
He was just in Jacksonville for that Blues Fest.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Jacksonville Jazz or Jacksonville Blues Fests have always been good. I remember we used to come up there from Flagler College. We'd go over there to participate.
Again, thank you again, sir.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
See you, man. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a very
And so we'll
polite band.
do a voicemail Wednesday 3,
Okay.
and then
We can do it.
And we'll do lunch, then BDM and OG.
Okay. Why don't you bring us back? Here we go. 3, 2.
welcome back to A Corporate Time. Let's do some voicemail.
All right. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail message, you can do so 2 ways. You can call this number 1-844-TOMNDAN. That's our landline. You can leave us a voicemail message that way. Or you can get our app with all of our shows on there. BDM shows, ACTs are all on there. And there's a little button on there that says mediocre messages. If you hold it down, you can leave a crystal clear voice message, much like this one right here.
Hey, show. Bubble bath old man here, aka Michigan Chuck. Yeah, Dan, you're talking about the infuriating price of ink. And I looked it up. It's anywhere from $2,000 to $12,000 a gallon. That's some BS. Later.
Yelling.
Is he saying that's what it translates to if you actually did it per gallon?
I guess. We're talking about computer ink or toner.
Because it can't be to produce. It's got to be similar to paint, right?
Yes.
I
I would
don't know.
imagine the ink is not what you're paying for.
It's the cartridge.
It's the cartridge and the technology of the ink being delivered. That's what you're paying for.
Yeah. But the cartridge itself, what technology's in that makes it so expensive?
The only thing that I could figure out was that these cartridges must have some sort of a chip and or a defining way that they've been produced in order to unseat themselves. Like, because our printer will only work with officially licensed Xerox ink.
Yes, well,
It will only work, and now it'll start working with the other one, but then somewhere along the line, it'll unseat itself or like have some sort of syntax error or some sort of problem.
And that's the company trying to safeguard from people buying cheap Alibaba or whatever ink.
Right, generic. I went
ink.
I went with a company called Swift Ink for our generic. Now they've been kind enough to be able to, like, they said I can return the ink and I'll get a full refund of what they made.
So what I'm asking is it just all a price fixing thing that the printer industry is doing by making the ink replacement so expensive to therefore fund, just for monetary gain?
Gotta be.
And there's no other reason it needs to be that expensive. It's just there. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you make a printer that has cheap ink, or no one's going to do that because now
it's like tires. No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could make a printer. I remember back
It's
in
weird
the
I'm doing a little quick research, and I'm trying to read the captions on this YouTube video, but they're in the comments section. People are saying Epson has a printer where you can refill the cartridges yourself.
Yeah, but I
But
heard
And it's cheaper.
But I don't want that either, because I don't need to be over there grinding up the black and smushing it with a
No. It's like in a refillable tube.
No, I know, but I'm like, there's somewhere in between. Like, why can't we just have a printer where the ink is reasonably priced, where it's like, how much was your ink for the year? And I go, $100. And everybody's like, wow, that's a great deal. Like now it's like, how much is your ink once or twice or 3 times a year? Well, that one time is $800. And people are like, that's $300 more than you paid for the printer. And I'm like, yes, I know. That doesn't make any sense.
And also,
that makes 0 sense.
And it's like, now you're like over $100 a month in printer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And I bought the small amount. I had to buy a small amount of ink.
because it lasts about 8 months or a little under a year.
Not this
right?
one, because I had to buy the small. What we had in there before we had the big jumbo cartridges.
Yeah.
And if I bought all of the big jumbo cartridges for the year, it'd be $900, almost exactly $900. $878.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And I'm not, this isn't dumb old man. This is just like, I don't understand what I'm paying for. I'm trying to give them the value of saying, well, I looked at those cartridges. Yes, there's like, they're better made, they're hardier, the plastic's thicker, but there is something on there that when it's in there and seated correctly, that printer knows that it's got those fancy ass cartridges in it.
And then it doesn't make sense because there's other technology that is amazing that's free.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we have stuff, and like even to what are a regular iPhone. What's a new iPhone cost if you just went and bought it?
Like $900.
Not like around 1,000. Let's say
$1,000.
$1,000. So you can get a whole iPhone for what a printer.
$1,000.
Like, you know what my iPhone is capable of? Like, it is amazing. Like, all the stuff that it could do, it is an insane technological it's insane.
Yeah, I remember
comparatively to a stupid printer.
I remember
It's big ink. Big Ink knows that they can sell the printers cheaper and they take a loss on it. So then you have to buy their specific cartridges, and they can price it as much as they want. And they put microchips in the cartridges, so it'll mess up when you do third party. This is fascinating. I should do it. You heard about this one on it?
Yeah, do it, because like the microchips got us because I bought the Swift ink, put that in there. It was working just fine, and then one day the entire thing is bricked. And, like, I'm talking bricked as far as, like, you can't...
They do that on purpose,
Can't print in black, can't print in anything unless you're held hostage to buy. I had to buy $400 worth of ink just to get that thing running again.
You would think, though, okay, we live in an open market where, like, any business can start and compete against these printer companies, right? So you'd think that another business would... think to themselves, like, there's a huge...
Sounds like they got a monopoly on this, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is the monopoly here? Because you think that some other company that can produce printers and then do it cheaply, like, man, there is such a need for this because it's so insane and it's so expensive.
Think about, like, even, like, tickets nowadays, right? You got to go through Ticketmaster, Live Nation, and it's insane.
I remember
every once in a while you'll find like somebody on like what is it, Axis or whatever, or Eventbrite that's a little cheaper, but those are usually not the bigger artists.
I remember as a kid we had a printer at our church that was like a fancy printer, and I remember asking like, what makes this printer so fancy? And I remember that I was told that it uses heat to print. And that they were like, yeah, it uses this heat plus the toner to print, so you don't have to use a ton of toner. And this is going to be the future where you're not even going to need toner. It's just going to be able to print using heat.
Okay, all right.
And I was like, oh, wow, okay, this is going to be the future. And I'm still waiting. I remember being told this when I was like 11 or 12. It could have been like some guy could have been a pedophile telling me that to try and get me to go into his office or something. I don't know. But I remember somebody telling me this about and laser print. I remember laser printers were like, oh yeah, well it uses a laser to print. You're not gonna need toner anymore. The days of getting the toner in your hands, it's all gone.
What happened to the laser?
Yeah, what happened to the goddamn lasers? Remember the lasers? Remember the lasers? Also, what happened to the lasers? Where's the laser printers? Why am I still having to buy color ink? Why am I still having to buy magenta and cyan and yellow? Why?
You know, my pop-up worked in the printing industry. he
could have helped me with it.
That's what he did. He fixed printers, but it was like in the 1950s or, you know, 60s.
It's a tough job. That's a tough job.
And he worked for the hospitals and stuff, like, and he'd work on these giant printers, and that's what his job was.
Yeah.
He was a
if he could see it now, he'd be so. If he could see it now, he'd be so sad.
And it was back when you'd have to have a mechanic to come fix your printer.
My printer's dead.
Yeah. Like, and so
printers are huge. They're as big as a car.
Yeah. So, but even
big
now,
as a bus.
Remember when we worked for a giant corporation, you'd have the quintessential big ass printer that would be in the middle of the office.
Look, I got to be honest about something. The printer up at Real Radio, I'm sure they have a new one now. But when I was there, when I would use that printer,
they probably don't.
When that thing would mess up, and it would mess up a lot, I would kick it. I'd spit on it.
Yeah.
I'd slap it. I would take the tray out and smash it against the wall. I would just kick it and just abuse. I'd smash the buttons as hard as I could.
But I look at the size of it, and I'm like, why is this so big?
It's as big as me. It's 5'2" and 290 pounds.
It's twice the circumference of a refrigerator.
Yeah, it's huge.
And it's like, let's say it is like 4 feet tall. Like, it's as tall as Daniel.
It's as tall as me.
and
thick. It's a thick boy.
a big, like double the.
It's the size
square.
of Super Dave.
And then I was like, what? Why does it need to be this big? It's just paper in here and the ink.
And it's horrible.
What's in here?
And it would
Why
never
is it so
work,
big?
so then I'd start slapping it and I'd smash the buttons.
So I feel like it's big for nothing. Like, it's big just so they could justify the cost because it doesn't need to be. Like, I'm looking around and I'm like, well, there's this tray and the paper. What's all on the bottom?
Also, if I was printing a news story, I'd be printing news stories, and it'd be like, print a news story, and it'd be like, oh, well, what page do you need? I need page 7. This is 60 pages. I just print it. And I would just print it. I'd print out 60 pages. I'd take page 7 out and take 59 pages of trash and throw it right in the trash. I'm just being honest. That's what I would do.
Yeah. One time I accidentally printed out like 10,000. Yeah, like I hit the wrong thing and I printed out like the half the internet. and then I left.
It just left it on a Friday. Just let it print all weekend.
Went through a whole paper. and then you drive home.
Yeah.
You're like, hey,
And then
well,
they get an
screw this
email.
company.
Somebody printed the entire internet over the weekend. Who cares? F you. All right, let me get another voicemail. I like getting these things off my chest.
Yeah.
Makes me feel better.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this one.
So I'm listening to Tuesdays at Corporate Time. No more cup of stuff. You guys were talking about safaris. You got on to tattoos. You're talking about covering up and just don't ask about it and stuff like that. Well, I got to say, so I love my tattoo. It's held up great. Got it done at a tattoo party. It was only $80. It was my buddy's 18th birthday. He had a tattoo artist come in. She's fantastic. But I got it in a unfortunate location, which,
We should do a tattoo party in here.
Okay.
And we need one or two more people to participate.
Oh.
And we should all stick our names in a hat. And then we should all write down something like for a tiny tattoo. And we should do a tattoo party and pick tattoos for each other.
Well, why would we do it?
Why not?
I don't want to get some
fun.
stupid tattoo for the rest of my life.
It's fun. You could get like Mighty Mouse on your kneecap or something.
You
You need some fun. You need a fun tattoo.
No, but then you have this thing that everybody.
Why don't you get Gator Tom on your arm?
Then people ask you like, what is? I guess you got a story behind it, and who cares?
Anyway,
Or
he continues.
Well, this was before the whole fad of it, I guess, or I just didn't know of the fad. It's a tramp stamp. But what I loved, you guys talk about don't ask about it. I went to the last cruise that we all did. And, I have my shirt off quite often there because it's on a cruise ship or swimming, having good times. But nobody asked me about it. Nobody cared. That's what I love about the BDMs. They're just like, oh, it is what it is. And got it for a reason, for some reason.
That's
got
true.
it up spot for some reason. Maybe a poor choice, but I'm not going to bother them about it. So I'm with y'all. Just don't ask about it.
They're not known to be hella.
I remember this
nosy.
guy. I was at the bar making fun of him with other BDMs.
You and the Beast.
yeah. I was like, look at this guy's got a tramp stamp. And then we laughed and laughed. That's what we did.
Was there a time when dudes got tramp stamps?
Oh yeah.
It was a thing.
My buddy Alex, remember the Unity
Oh,
tramp
yes.
stamp?
Yeah,
At
there's
least-
a few guys.
At least his is positive. though.
that we made fun of.
Unity.
Yeah.
That's a unity.
It was a 90s.
Guys like it more across the back of the shoulders instead of the lower back. Like
Yeah,
the
I have
upper
one.
back. That's like the male.
I have an
tramp
old man tramp stamp between my shoulder blades,
Yeah.
and it's an old green sailor tattoo. And
Yeah,
Andrea
that's
makes
called the
fun
Sublime.
of it. Andrea's like, "Why do you even put sunscreen on that?"
stamp. Damn.
Let the sun burn it off.
Oh.
Or you
She
get.
tells people that's my Navy tattoo. I'm like, damn.
What is it of?
It's a like a phoenix, a phoenix bird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a circle phoenix bird. It's
Yeah.
tribal. It's like very Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. Did you get it
Yeah.
the 90s, right?
Well, not 90s, but like close enough.
Yeah. The
90s inspired, you could say,
Mm.
right?
Or you get the barbed wire.
But you don't connect
it.
it.
You don't connect it because
Yeah.
you're not tough enough, which is pretty ironic.
You know what we should
Because
do?
why'd you get the barbed wire?
You
What
know
is that
this-
supposed to represent?
This year, I want to connect free of charge.
Let's do it.
Our show, I want to sponsor 10 people to get their barbed wire connected this year.
Yeah.
I want to change some
Barbed
lives this
around
year.
the world.
I am known as Orlando's.
your wire.
I am Orlando's little Mr. Beast.
Little Beast.
Little Beast. They call me Little Beast, Little Danny Beast, and I'm gonna. He did like what 1,000 cataract surgeries for the for old people. I'm
Yeah.
doing 10. I'm taking 10 of our listeners. If you have barbed wire that's not connected, I will pay to get your barbed wire connected, and we'll finish. We'll finish it. We'll connect it.
Yeah.
Change some lives this year.
Not to tangent too crazy, but you brought up Mr. Beast, and then I saw.
His latest videos are just the worst.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
I saw some Mr. Beast content.
$1
The airplane,
hotel.
yeah. Oh, the hotel,
Yeah,
okay.
no, it's $1 hotel versus
$10,000 a night.
no $500,000.
Oh, fine. Yeah, okay,
hotel.
yeah. So he did this with airplane tickets. He does like
Yeah.
Obviously, he's the '90s radio of social media, where you just you do some one idea and then you're like, I'll do it until I F it out.
It's a little person versus a giant every time.
And so he does the like, I'll show you what a $1 hotel per night it looks like, and then a $500,000, and then all the like a lot of increments in between.
And all my friends and their mad hijinks.
And then he does the same thing with, like, he did it with airline tickets or whatever. And when I watch it and then I see it, he's like, this is the $50,000 plane ticket, and it's like some opulent craziness. And when I'm watching it, I'm like, this guy is ruining himself of all things, because at this point he's trying to create content that people watch, and it's like absurd or whatever. Like, who the hell stays in $500,000 or $50,000 all night hotel? All like, you go and stay in a hotel like I remember the one was an island. It was like $500,000 to rent the island out, right?
Yeah.
And it's this huge, opulent, ridiculous thing. And they meet him on the boat. It's him and his friends, but he's doing the content, and I don't think he's kind of enjoying it, I guess.
He
but
never looks like he's enjoying anything.
It's just he's probably on a schedule, right? And then, but
Monday through Friday.
You're just doing these things, and I feel like it all becomes a nothing, and then it's like, what do you have to look forward to?
He's tired of it now.
Yeah.
That's what it's definitely what it seems like. He did this new commercial for like his he did a partnership with this new Shopify's got a new thing called I think shop.com or something.
Okay.
So Shopify is trying to get out of just running your credit cards, and they're trying to become like a destination or an actual merchant at this point, right? So he's doing a commercial for the Shopify company called Shop, and the commercial is where they gave this girl, they're like, hey, here's this Mr. Beast bar. Can you get this to Mr. Beast? And she's like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, oh, this is one of those, like, it's one of the videos. I have to fly this to Mr. Beast in North Carolina. So they put her on a plane and they fly her there, and they're taking care of everything. And then she finds him and she gives him the bar. And he's like, you could have just bought this on the shop.com website. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah, here's $10,000 for your trouble. And the whole thing, her, him, everything, nobody even cares. Like, the whole video, when you watch it, you're like, no one here even cares about this. She didn't care about the $10,000. He didn't care about giving it. He didn't care about the Beast Bar. He didn't even care about the read he's doing. It's like the whole thing has no impact. It used to have impact, but now it like...
Well, he's making money, but like he's a multi-millionaire and whatever, but I'm just looking at the value of experiences, and I feel like he's taking the value of any experience away from himself, because he's doing all the content.
It's all a gimmick.
Well, but it's gimmicks, but it's also he's experiencing everything too much. It's kind of
and fast. He's doing it fast too. It's like, I went to Antarctica and I was there for 2 weeks and we shot this dumb video. Well, you could have gone there for the real reason of going there and actually celebrating it, enjoying it, and learning about it.
In a normal course of human life, right? You like, let's say you throughout your life you finally get to the point where financially you could afford a first class ticket, and then you're like, I'm gonna splurge and get myself a first class ticket. And then when you do that, the experience is fulfilling, because you're like, oh, this is cool. Like, you enjoy the opulence of it and like the bigger seats.
Well, like our buddy Adam Murray, that's what he's doing right now as he's touring Europe. Yeah. It's like he worked so hard and saved for a decade to be able to afford that trip to Europe, and now he's doing it. And
then the difference between where like the work pays off, and then there's just a lot of like value you get from that, from like purchasing it, buying it is meaningful. You know what I'm saying? It's something you have never experienced. And I feel like Mr. Beast is taking all of that away from his life by, I know this is like, who cares?
Well,
he's a millionaire.
He says he loves it.
No, but even if he does, though, but you're doing all this this stuff for content, and then when you can afford it yourself, I feel like it's devalued because you've already experienced it all.
I agree.
Like, you've experienced so much, and it's all for content and all for this thing, that it's like renting the private island with your friends. If you've already done it for content one time, you already know what to expect. Is like, it devalues it a little bit, right?
I wonder if it makes him value other things. Like, what does he truly value? I would love to sit down with him and ask him that. Like, what do you value? Relationships, your girlfriend, your mom and dad, your family.
I don't know anything about him personally, so
seems like a nice guy.
But
seems like a nice enough guy. But
it just does seem like it's kind of like if you're able to be with any woman in any scenario or man or whatever you're into, like sexually, and then you have that all, like if you were some prince and then there was like you had a harem of women that you had access to at all times. Like eventually it devalues it to the point where
eventually I'd want men.
You're not even interested in it, right? Where it's just like, I have it all. Yeah. Where it's like if you have that occasionally, every once in a while.
It depends on the person.
It does depend on the person, but
maybe
if you're
you got it all wrong. Maybe Mr. Beast is loving his life. Maybe it's not devaluing it at all to him.
It's got to be though, right?
He does not appear to be loving his life.
Maybe it's separate. Maybe the content's one thing and something else is another. But it's like experiencing.
I wonder how much like downtime he has.
I don't think a lot, because I think it's the actual video. What he's doing is what he loves.
Yeah,
so,
his addiction is building his company, and that's probably the value to him. But
kind of sounds like somebody I know.
It goes back to, remember when we talked to Bert, or like even Anthony Bourdain talks about this or whatever. But like Bert Kreischer when he was doing that travel show.
Yeah.
He's like
Bert the Conqueror
on TV or whatever. When you see it, it looks like an unbelievable job to go from these awesome places to awesome places, but like and then experience like I'm in Paris, I'm doing all this stuff. But he's like the recording schedule.
It's a layover. You're just popping in and popping out.
You don't even enjoy it.
That's exactly what I think of Mr. Beast. I feel like Antarctica, for instance, he's been there. I think multiple times, but to me, it's like he's not going there and he's spending these time with a tribe or doing ayahuasca and learning. Like he's literally popping in there, shooting the video, and getting the hell out of there and making the video.
So then, does it even hold? Like Jenna Hurt going to Antarctica, she spent a tremendous amount,
3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah, and then she finally got on a boat
with the people. She swam with the puffins,
and then she had some insane life experience.
Yeah, but we don't know that he's not doing that. On his own time.
I think they've shown some of these.
I don't think he has time.
He isn't doing it.
He's popping in and out. It's like the schedule, like because he's doing it for work. And when you're doing it for work or make content, it's got to be less valuable. And then you've already been there and seen it. So how driven are you going to be to ever go and experience it again? You're like, God, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you go to these places.
Maybe he'll go to space or something.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure he's already booked one of these trips. You know what I'm saying? Like he could just buy the ticket, whatever.
Or maybe he has no interest in it, right? Like I don't know.
But do it for content.
He seems like a pretty normal Carolina kid, right? Like a normal white bread Carolina kid.
But he'll do anything for content, right? It's like and that's
because his goal is to be the biggest channel.
And that's what his addiction is everybody who's successful is addicted to whatever they're doing. And and that's kind of why they're successful, but also it's the curse of the success, because that's all he wants is to be the largest channel. And continue to grind out on that. So anyway, it's I often feel like if you do these things for a living and that's what you're doing, you're kind of robbing yourself of the true value of any of these experiences, right?
Well, I mean, like use Loge for us, for instance. Like I got so much free Loge back when I had access to it, that it not only did it ruin concerts for me a little bit, now I want Loge, and then like I'll get they'll tell me like, oh, it's $230. I'll be like, no, thank you. Because
you don't want to pay for it.
It's kind of ruined it.
Free food.
Yeah,
dude,
it's kind of ruined it for me.
I've been ruined by free food and working in radio for 10 years. You too, probably. It was like it's not as valuable.
No.
When someone's like, hey, a free lunch, I'm like,
I don't need your stinking lunch.
Well, I'll just like because we were getting free food nearly every day in some way or another. I know sounds ridiculous to people to bitch about, because it's not bitching, it's just it devalues the value of free food.
You'd be finishing a show, and in the green room there'd be like over 100 still piping hot wings there, and I would just take them and throw them in the trash.
So now when someone offers me free food, it's not as valuable to someone else, even though it's not about the value of the food, it's just the concept of free food. Other people probably like, oh, cool, free lunch. And then me, I'm like, it's a nothing.
Yeah.
Because we've given so, yeah. So that, what I'm saying? So I'm thinking all these things have devalued Mr. Beast's life in that way. You know.
Yeah, I think he's.
I don't know.
We'll find out. I definitely think it's gonna. Or maybe not. Maybe,
doesn't
maybe we won't find out.
It's fine. He's fine. Everybody, it's just
Perfectly fine.
I like to look at those things in reality where it's like this is not. It's like the Instagram or anything on social media. It's like everybody's life isn't what you're making it out to be based on these pictures or what is going on.
It's just what you see.
Yeah.
Want to take a break or keep going?
Let's take a break.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Come back with more A Corporate Time. Cool. All right. That is Wednesday 3, right?
Yes.
We don't have anything.
And then we'll jump back into the BDM group at around 1 for the BDM show for all of you watching on Twitch and YouTube.
If you're not a BDM, sign up.
Yeah, I got a real funny story about the golf tournament this weekend. It involves a geyser.